What's up everybody, King Louis here with a new Mordhau video. After almost 5 months, the game has finally gotten a content and balance update. In this video I want to give you guys a quick patch overview, my thoughts on the changes, and I also want to talk a bit about the current state of Mordhau in general. So let's jump straight into it. The main reason why there has been no patch for such a long time is because Attribution updated their game engine. They went from Unreal Engine 4.20 to 4.25. Which is a pretty big leap. Marox, the lead developer, stated in a dev stream that this new engine version will come with better performance, better server stability, rendering improvements, better protection against certain server attacks, and more. Mordhau had some problems with DDoS attacks and questionable server performance in the past, so there are improvements to be expected. They also reduced the maximum player size per server from 80 to 64, which also should help with performance. In terms of actual new content, patch 22 is pretty thin. There are no new maps, weapons, game modes, combat animations and the like. Some existing maps got redesigned play areas for the brawl mode, and there are 2 new frontline variants for existing maps, but one would definitely expect more after such a long time without any update. Anyway, something that got added are new weapon and armor skins, and they look awesome and are also quite affordable. Weapon-wise, there are new skins for the Mole, the Warhammer, the Falx, the Spear and the Javelin. There are also a few new helmets, chest pieces, leg armor, new boots, shoulders and gloves. The armor and weapon cosmetics in this game are still top-notch in my opinion, and something that Mordhau has over any other medieval game on the market. Next we have the combat changes. Probably the biggest change for frontline and invasion players, and something that has been asked for quite a lot, is the rework of the Bloodlust perk. Rather than an instant heal to full HP, killing an opponent now starts HP regeneration, which stops as soon as you press parry or get flinched. While still pretty strong, this change makes it more of a convenience perk rather than a 1vx God of War perk. Its point cost got decreased to 6 as a result. Another team objective related change is that nobles are now tankier against fire and projectile damage. Next we have the removal of the manual combo feint to parry. Previously you had to input a combo attack after a miss to get a faster parry. Now with this update there is no need for that anymore, and the game will automatically input the combo feint to parry for you. This change reduces the skill floor of the game and gives new players easy access to this pretty important mechanic. It also doesn't mess with the skill ceiling, since pretty much everyone that plays the game a lot knew about combo feint to parry and used it, so it was basically just an unnecessary obstacle for beginners. One of the biggest combat changes this patch brought to the game is that missing an attack now slows down comboing. This obviously nerfs missing attacks. Pre-patch you were basically forced to just stand there and watch your opponent miss swing after swing without ever gaining initiative. Now you might be able to actually get an attack in after your opponent misses an attack. The next batch of changes are movement changes. The lunge distance has been increased and the parry knockback has been decreased. This should make it harder to take a parry and run away from your opponent, aka the runhouse strat. Furthermore, sprinting is now slower at the initial phase, but acceleration to max speed is faster. This makes traversing the map faster, but it should be harder to run away from an opponent during a fight. Kicks got nerfed pretty substantially. They don't flinch releases anymore, and their stamina drain and stamina gain got reduced heavily. I'm also fine with that change. Kicks were honestly too strong in high level play. The stamina swing from one successful gamble kick could too often decide the outcome of an engagement. It is still pretty easy to kick a face-hugging opponent, so I don't think they over-nerfed it. The parry recovery got slightly increased to reduce the chances of double parries. The strike chamber window got slightly reduced. To prevent some weird-looking spinning attacks, ripostes will now use the start angle of the block instead of the start of the wind-up to decide whether the attack glances or not. All in all, I like the combat changes. I wish they did something about crouch lean-back dodges. They slowed down crouching by a tiny bit, but I don't think that's enough to stop crouch lean-back gambles from being a somewhat viable strategy. Next we have weapon and equipment changes. There isn't a whole lot to talk about here. The Messer and the Evening Star got their turn caps slightly reduced. Both weapons are still very strong though. The Billhook is the big winner of the patch. It has gotten more range, more damage, better stamina game and faster combos. The trade-off is slightly reduced turn caps. The Falx can now one-shot tier 1 chest, which I believe is the only weapon in the game that can do so. There also have been some misc and quality of life changes. Here are some worth mentioning. The patch brought some improvements to Horde mode. Most notably, the difficulty now scales with the amount of players per team. Battle Royale servers can now be found in the server browser. This might actually get a server going for prime time and revive the game mode. The assist damage threshold to count as a kill has been reduced from 75 to 50. This will make it so players have better kill-death ratios overall, which should be more encouraging for new players. There also have been quite a few sound changes and new sounds in the game, as Straternion has recently hired a sound designer. You can now regulate or mute the volume of voice lines. And the loot sound has been improved, and its tonal range has been significantly increased. In combination with the new loot mod, you can now actually create and play pretty nice arrangements that sound so much better than before. I think this wraps it up pretty much for this update. As already mentioned, in terms of new content, the patch looks pretty unspectacular, especially if you consider the long content drought. If we take a look at the Steam charts, we see that the Mordhau player base took a huge dip in these last few months. The game went from 4.6k average players in May to 2.2k average players in August. The decline, in my opinion, is due to various factors. Not enough content updates, server problems, the launch of Chivalry 2, and the fact that Mordhau has a problem with new players quitting the game too fast because of the high entry floor, and many veteran players quitting the game because of other various reasons. I said this often in the past, Mordhau in its current form is not welcoming to new players. The game is very unforgiving at the beginning and has a high entry floor. But the game is also not really made for high-level players. In fact, most high-level players in Europe quit the game because high-level gameplay, be it duels or SKM, is unenjoyable and almost solely revolves around thousands of hours of practicing a minigame that is called drags and excels. It often feels as if there is simply not enough meat to the game to keep high-level players attracted past a certain point. Anyway, let me know in the comment section what you think about the current state of Mordhau. Do you think the game can punch back from the recent player base decline, or do you think it's all downhill from here? If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button for more medieval slasher content. As always, thank you all for watching and see you soon.